Awesome, thank you. Welcome to Fresno City Toastmasters, our regular meeting. We have one guest today. Welcome to Kalani. And we also have Sarah, a distinguished guest visiting. And sorry, brain fart. Let's start off with our mission statement. It's in the bottom left-hand corner of your agenda if you have it in front of you. We provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. We keep that in mind throughout our entire meeting. I know this meeting is a little bit smaller than expected. We had, like Joey said, about half a dozen people call out last minute, but we are going to push through. We always have a way of working together and filling each other's roles last minute, and we have no problem taking that on. It's part of that personal growth and development, I think. A couple of things with club business. We were just discussing prior to the meeting. We will revisit meeting in person in June at our June board meeting. Storm and Sarah Dawson, you are welcome to join that board meeting to give your input. I know you guys had some input today, so that would be really helpful. I can send out the link to join that meeting. That would be great. Other club business. Joey, do we have 8 people in our paid up with dues?
All 8? I don't know if we have all 8. I think we have probably half a dozen. And Denise's, I'm still trying to find it. It keeps telling me that you got it, you paid in my Cash App, but I'm not seeing it in my Cash App. So I got to look and see where that's at. But it's saying that you did. So I wouldn't send any more money. I just got to figure that out. So I think we got about 6 or 7.
Okay. If anyone else needs to pay their dues, dues were due, they're overdue. So please get those dues in so we can remain a paid club. Sarah Tomokop, do you have anything that you want to share with our club?
Just that this is my official visit. You receive an area report. And I'll talk to a couple of you to fill in some information after this. And then remind you that the spring conference is this weekend. Going in person is pretty awesome. And if you haven't been, I highly encourage you, especially because it's on Zoom this year, you could kind of walk in and out to just listen to the speech contest or what you find informational. And then I've already talked with you, Farron, you and the VP, if you could be on at 5:30 to 6:30 on Friday night. They're going to be voting. There is, so they need a quorum. And there's 3 people running for club growth. And our Greg Amaro from our area is running. So not that you have to vote for him, but it'd be nice if they do have a quorum and could get it done. So anything you do to log on during those meeting times would be awesome. But other than that, I encourage you to log on Saturday and Friday night. It should be some fun.
Awesome. Thanks, Sarah. And for that quorum, is that me and the VP of Education? Yes. So Joey, are you able to attend that? 5:30 on Friday night?
5:30 Friday night.
The business is 5:30 to 6:30.
It's just an hour?
It's just an hour.
Okay. I can try to make that.
And there's 2 Zoom links. There's one Zoom link for Friday night and there's one Zoom link for Saturday.
Okay, and then Saturday is when again?
Saturday is like an all day. There is an agenda. I will re-forward it out. You guys can forward it. There is agenda where everything is, how it lays out.
Okay, are we required to attend that whole thing? This is baseball season for me, so I'm super busy on the weekends.
No, 5:30, 6:30 is the only time I need you.
Friday. Okay.
On Friday, Saturday is optional. It's just a lot of fun.
Got it.
It just opens your eyes to different Toastmasters and listening to the speech contests. And so that way you can further your own speeches and everything. And so it's just nice that you don't have to travel. You can actually just join on. And you don't have to. It's optional.
Cool.
I get it. We all have lives other than Toastmasters.
Awesome. Thanks, Sarah. Glad that you're here. And the other thing for club business is that elections are coming up. So if anyone would like to join the board, we have some people leaving the board, so we really need members to step up. If you're at all interested, let me know, please. I think that's it as far as the board new club business goes, unless I'm missing anything. Denise or Joey? Good. I'll introduce the Toastmaster of the day, which is me. I decided to jump into this role last minute. Let's see. Our theme is don't call it a dream, call it a plan. Totally winging this speech right now. but I will relate it to what I'm going through right now. I have always dreamt of taking a solo road trip. Not really sure of a destination. I just want to kind of be by myself. And I've always wanted to run different trails in different areas of the United States. So instead of just dreaming about it, I decided to actually sit down and start planning it. I'm looking at routes. I bought a test mat, which is a mattress specifically fitted for my Model 3 so that I can sleep in my car, drive to campgrounds, plug into RV spots to charge up, and run trails, and then drive to another place, run another trail, drive to another place. And I have mapped my route all the way up to the Canadian border and back. And I'm taking this trip in June. So I encourage everyone to think of any dream that you may have had when you were younger, or a dream that you have right now, and start planning it out. Just flesh it out, even if you don't know exactly the timeline of when it's going to happen. Just start planning. It gets you really motivated. It makes you think of all the pitfalls that may happen or things that you hadn't thought about before. So instead of just calling it a dream, call it a plan. And that can also apply to Toastmasters. Think about what you want to get out of this club. And instead of just dreaming about it, but not really setting specific goals, really turn it into a plan and think about how you are going to maybe ask for a mentor, what your speeches are going to be about. Really sit down and write it out. I think that's the best way to do it, is to put it down, pen and paper. Sorry, that's all I can come up with for now on the fly. And I would like to introduce our general evaluator, Denise DiBenedetto.
Thank you, Farron. That is pretty good on the fly there. That not many people have a plan like that or a dream, so that's pretty awesome. I will be your general evaluator today. It's my responsibility to kind of evaluate the entire meeting. I rely on a team to help me do that, and I get the opportunity to introduce that team to you. I'll start with today's grammarian, who is Denise DiBenedetto. Hello, everyone. I have decided to go with the word vision as our word of the day because I thought it fit perfectly with the theme that we have. And vision, the ability to think about or plan the future with imagination or wisdom, exactly what Farron's doing. And I have a vision. I can envision myself living on a farm. So maybe one day that will be me. So just try to incorporate that word throughout the meeting, and I'll keep track and give a report at the end. Next, we have our awe counter, and today's awe counter will be Joey Myers.
Thank you, Miss Denise. And I will be counting for Kaylani, be counting the ahs and ums and ers and likes and sometimes so's. This is probably one of the things when you're first coming to a Toastmasters meeting. I don't know if this is the first time or if this is a few times that you will remember. You may forget everything and everybody in the meeting, but you will remember the ah counting. And you will probably spend this next week counting your ahs and ums at home. So that's what I'll be doing here, doing double duty like many of us in this group. And I'll pass it back to Denise.
Thank you, Joey. Our timer for today will be Sarah Tolmachoff. Did I say that correctly, Sarah?
You did amazing.
All right.
Thank you. So I have the Toastmaster app. I'll put the time in and I will be holding it on my phone. So we time to make sure that we stay within the time frames and we're not boring anybody. A speech is normally 5 to 7 minutes. Are your evaluators 2 to 3 minutes, or are they 1 to 2? 2 to 3, perfect. And then table topics is 1 to 2 minutes. And it will change from green when you've hit your requirements for the speech, yellow when it's time to wrap up, and red when it's time to stop.
Thank you, Sarah. And last but not least, our Zoom master for today will be Storm Davis.
Good afternoon. I am the Zoom master for today. It will be recording to the cloud, and we will spotlight or highlight each of the speakers. And That's, yeah, back to you, Denise.
Thank you, Storm. And now I will hand it back to our Toastmasters, Farron.
Thank you, Denise. Joey, did you send an intro to me? Okay,
I emailed you.
1 second.
Storm, that was good. I saw you getting ready to go to that crutch word and you paused.
Good job.
So close. I got stuck.
All right. Joey Myers is a six-figure stay-at-home dad. After his baseball business hit a ceiling, he decided to take his own focus, advice, and put effort into delegating high but low-level tasks to virtual assistants, which would allow him to do higher-level grow and scale tasks. His goal is to take his business from 6 figures to 8 in 2 years. In this speech, Joey wants to inspire you to use the power of focus in your life. Please welcome Joey Myers.
Thank you, Mrs. Toastmaster. And FOCUS is an acronym for follow one course until successful. And this can go along with your vision of your life. It doesn't have to be business-wise, but it can be relationship-based, it can be spiritual-based. Doesn't really matter. You can take that into however this looks to you, but I'm going to give you an example and a demonstration of how it looks in my life. Now, I wanted to start off with a quote. It's actually a Russian proverb, one of my favorites. It is, if you chase 2 rabbits, you will not catch either one. Again, focus is follow one course until successful. So as Farron had mentioned, my business was stuck. Sales had grown stale. Things that were working weren't working anymore, at least not like they were before. We had to put a little bit more money into it in order to make it work. For an example, Facebook, well, it's a pay-to-play scheme now, I call it. And the only way really to get traction on Facebook is to spend money. Then COVID hit. Things went from bad to worse. And it really got me thinking about my business. Things turned around when I joined a group of merger acquisition investors. Up until that point, though, the discipline of focus, follow one course until successful, had left me like an old high school flame in a country song. Now I'm back, and I'd like to share 3 of my favorite, most inspirational books on focus. We're going to talk and give examples through one book, The One Thing, Total Recall, and The Power of Less. The first one, The One Thing, The Surprisingly Simple Truth Behind Extraordinary Results by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan. One of the questions that really struck me in that book, there are a lot of questions in that book that will get you thinking about whatever it is in your life, whatever that one thing is that you need to tackle, or at least help you tackle, that helps to knock all the other dominoes down. And the one question I really like in that book is, what is the one thing you can do today, whatever you want, such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? Again, I'll repeat, what is the one thing you can do today for whatever you want, such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? Now, one of the things back in 2017, I think when I was reading a lot of these books, was the idea of writing my own book. And up until that point, I think I was getting close to 6 figures, but I was in the $50,000, $60,000 a year range in revenue in all my ventures online. And it wasn't until I wrote that book, published it in January 2017, that it 3 times my business. I didn't have a book at the time, so it was a new product that I could feature. And a lot of people during that time in my industry, in the baseball, softball, online industry, were into reading books. And there weren't a lot of books in that industry at that time. So it really 3 times my business and kicked me over into that 6-figure side. Now, I mentioned that some of the things that were working weren't working. And the book sales had started to wane off, and it was time to, I probably should have done a book every year or every couple of years, what I should have done, but I got a little lazy, was working on some other things that will come out in this speech of my attention was being diverted. So now I'm working on delegation of outreach and search engine optimization. So instead of me chasing 2 rabbits, is now I'm going to hire somebody who's specialized in chasing one of the other rabbits while I chase the other rabbit. And that's where I was stuck, is I was doing everything. And I would go and do some email marketing, and I'd spend a ton of time in that. Then I would go and do the Facebook marketing and spend some time in that. But then the email thing would die off. And then I would go to search engine optimization marketing and lose off on Facebook. It was like I had the sword and I was trying to spin the plates at the circus, and I had multiple swords out there spinning plates, and I had to keep going around. And then the swords are all falling apart and the plates are falling and breaking and the whole thing. So delegation is where I'm at right now in my business. The next book, Total Recall, my unbelievably true life story by Arnold Schwarzenegger. One of the main overarching themes in that book is goals, steps, and reps. He talked about in Terminator 2, there was a scene where he was riding a motorcycle, loaded a shotgun with one hand or one arm, and shot the padlock off a fence while he drove through the fence, and the fence opens up. And he talked about the complicated nature of that one move. And he does most of his scenes, if not all of his own scenes. So he talked about the steps to get there. He knew what he wanted to do. What were the steps to figure that out? So he practiced shooting a shotgun with one arm, loading it and shooting it, just standing there stationary, loading it and shooting it over and over, taking the reps. And then he would do the same thing, load the shotgun while riding the motorcycle, loading the shotgun, riding the motorcycle, and reps. And then he would put it together, and how we would break it down and then piece all those pieces together into one, to where he was able to do that scene. It was an interesting idea, very simple, but in the example of my book. So the goal was to write a best-selling book, and best-selling book, not for the New York Times, because I'm writing in the baseball softball niche, but for a specific category, baseball coaching category on Amazon. So that was my goal. The steps to get there. So to get a best-selling book, you have to have the sales, you have to have the downloads, if you're talking about Kindle editions, and you have to have book reviews. So the reps were, I ran Facebook ads and did a lot of email book giveaways every 90 days in order to get the downloads up and to get the reviews down. So that, after about a year, from January 2017 to January 2018, I have a little snapshot where I got best-selling book in Amazon. Now, if you don't get the sales, now that bestseller goes, it goes away. But I got the snapshot now that I can use in marketing. The third and final book, The Power of Less: The Fine Art of Limiting Yourself to the Essential in Business and in Life by Leo Babauta. Read this a few years, 3-4 years ago. But one of the statistics that he talked about was very interesting, was if you have one focus, remember, focus, F-O-C-U-S, follow one course until successful. One focus, you're going to be 85% successful in that one focus. Now, if you have two focuses, you're chasing two rabbits, your focus or your success rate goes down to 35%. And if you have three focuses, now you're chasing three rabbits, your success rate goes below 10%. So one focus gives you that 85%. Multitasking, contrary to the men-women difference, thinking women do better at multitasking than men, the question is, how quality can you be, or effective can you be multitasking versus single tasking? So in that respect, I say that multitasking is a myth. How do we create habits that stick? And this is in the book, Leo's book. If you want to wake up earlier, set your alarm. If you wake up at 8 a.m. and you want to wake up at 7 a.m., set your alarm for 15 minutes earlier. So 6:45. Do that for a week, or do it for a month, and then bring it down to 6:30 for a week, then to 6:15 for a week, and then down to 6 o'clock in a week. And you can knock that out with small little bit of progressions as you go. Same with doing cardio. If you're working out in the weight room, you're not having time for your cardio, what I used to tell my fitness clients was, get on the treadmill for at least 5 minutes a day, at least 5 minutes. But what I knew was that once I got them to get their clothes on, their cardio clothes on, to get on the treadmill, they got those 5 minutes, they were going to get more than that. So it's these small little progressions that get you over the hump in order to do what you want to do. And the last one is following through on your hitting homework. So my hitters, I use the same 5 minutes a day strategy, whereas in the past I would say, I want you to take 1,000 swings a day to these 8, 9, 10-year-olds and high schoolers. And they look at 1,000 swings a day, eyes pop out of their skulls. And it's easier for me to tell them, okay, I want 4 days a week and I want 5 minutes each day. That's it. If you're not feeling it that day, but that's one of your practice days, then just set that timer for 5 minutes. And when you're done, set it aside and then do whatever you want to do. So remember, circling back of these 3 books on focus, follow one path until successful. Remember the Russian proverb, again, whether it's in your work life, your business life, your relationships, your spiritual life, if you chase 2 rabbits, you will not catch either one. Thank you.
Great job, Joey. That was very helpful and inspirational. And if you can, please put the titles of those books in the chat so that we can reference them later. Go check them out. Thank you. I would like to now introduce our Table Topics Master, which is also me. I will put the table topics in the chat as well. Okay, so the first one is tell me about a dream that you have and your next steps in planning for that dream to become a reality. And also a little fun one, if you don't want to take that one, will be tell me the last thing you Googled and why. Would anyone like to go first? Storm, take it away.
I will be choosing the first option. What is your dream, and what are my plans or steps to achieve that dream? As a little kid, I would lay down and hear the airplanes, the commercial airlines going by, just that sound that resonates the entire house, kind of like shakes them, because I don't know, it was just old technology back in the 90s. I was thinking, wow, it would be really, really, really cool to be a pilot one day, not knowing any of my history, family history, nothing. So I had a dream of being a pilot in that. So I would imagine, I would visualize it and have a vision of myself like soaring across like the mountaintops and stuff like that. Not seeing any roads, no cities, no lights, nothing. It was just forest, green, sometimes desert. Having this dream, and I'm thinking, wow, that would be really, really cool. I also liked rockets. I liked everything that had to do with up above the surface of the earth. With this dream of mine, I was thinking, wow, it's kind of expensive to go to flight school or even become like a helicopter pilot, because you're so much more situational where you could land anywhere you want to. And I was thinking, what could we do now? So my vision was a little bit completed, where we got those model airplanes and you put a camera on top of it and you could actually put on goggles and you could fly around through the sky, over the trees, through the houses, literally through the houses, because they actually fit. And then with modern helicopters, they have four propellers, 2 in front, 2 in back, where you could actually do any maneuver. You could go through the houses, over the trees, go up about a mile, or come down. Just watch out for airspace and stay away from your local airport. And that was my dream coming true.
Awesome, Storm. I forgot to say, to introduce Table Topics for Kalani's benefit. Table Topics is a time where there's just impromptu speeches. They're 1 to 2 minutes long, and they're based off the questions that the Table Topics Master offers. Guests are allowed to join, so if you would like to respond, just let us know. Anyone else like to go? No? Okay, Sarah T.
Oh, fellow Toastmasters, I'm going to answer the first question. Tell me about a dream. I absolutely love the beach, and I love tropical beaches, which I've been to very few in my life, but I love them. And I keep teasing saying, why do I just sell everything off and move to a tropical beach? I don't care. I'm going to sell how like all like clean houses. I don't like, I just, what am I working for? But here's the thing is that I don't have anything tying me to Fresno anymore besides my job, which is super important because we always need money, right? And it scares me to death to maybe just move somewhere on a whim like that. Just, you know, like literally sell everything off besides the small things I want to keep in a storage unit. I'll rent out my place so I still have it. I don't know. I just have this vision that would be really fun. So instead of doing that right away, because I want to give myself maybe some like a parachute in case this fails, my goal and my vision and plan is to maybe do a month in December to do this and go rent out Airbnb all by myself. It could be a studio and go visit different places. And I think that just sounds so much better working for 11 months of the year and then 1 month completely off. I'm not big on the holidays anymore. Like they're just whatever to me. So that's my new plan. I'm hoping to implement it this December. And if it's kept me a month, maybe at least 3 weeks, you know, and just by myself, all by myself. I don't want anyone to come with me. I'm going to make new friends. I'm going to have new adventures and I'm going to go. So let's hope I could do that this year.
That sounds awesome, Sarah. I love how you're already turning your dream into a plan. You have your parachute and your whole plans about an Airbnb and everything. So I'm really excited for you. And I say, do it. Yes.
Well, let me know, Sarah, if you need a Airbnb in Oceanside, because I know somebody who has one. So I'll go. I am going to speak for the people who aren't driven, who tend not to be big dreamers, who kind of have a fear of adventure. It's really hard to, I think for a lot of people to understand that those type of people really try to surround themselves with people like that, people that are always hustling and dreaming, because it's really difficult for them. It also can create insecurities in them and, you know, kind of make them feel bad about themselves because that's just not their nature. You know, introverts, people who are really painfully shy, but there's still, you know, things that they want to do, and unfortunately they don't come to fruition like really driven, high energy, hustling kind of people. I just say this because we meet these people every day, and sometimes we might think, oh, they're lazy or they don't want to be successful. It's really physically impossible for them to be like that. So I just wanted to point that out because I think, you know, we tend to see people like Joey and Farron. I'm just using you examples because you're here, not, but as like just really high energy, successful people who are just always positive and focused. And, you know, then we think about other people who, I'll use myself as an example, who are just a little, you know, just introvert. And those things are hard, but the dreams are there. It's just implementing them. So anyway, I don't know why I wanted to share that. I thought it's always good to look at, you know, it takes a lot of people to create a community and everyone has their role.
Thank you, Denise, for that. I thank you for sharing, and I love your perspective, and I really appreciate you as a person in our community. Would anyone else like to go? Sarah Dawson?
I think so. I probably have too many dreams, and so it's hard for me to focus, but Joey's speech was very inspiring, and I'll get to that later when I give him an evaluation, so thank you. I was just thinking, Denise, especially on what you said. I had a roommate and one of my best friends, she she was very much didn't have too many dreams at the time, because I think she was just so grateful. Like her life had kind of been a mess before, and some of the dreams that she had kind of got shattered, and so she stopped dreaming for a while, and but I'm a huge dreamer, so she's always around me, and she's a really awesome administrator, so she would always help me reach my dreams. So I'm just thinking, when you talked about like the community, she kind of just joined me on all my adventures and my dreaming and all these kind of things, and it just made it so much better because you have somebody along with you, and it's just as valuable to have that, because she's able to make things happen. Even I said, oh, hey, let's try this, and she's like, okay, well, we could do it this way. I'm like, really? All right, let's do it. So it was really, really cool. I really appreciate you saying that too, that it's just like, even the people who have the big plans and the dreams, without the people that are there to make that event or to make that happen, it's just not as exciting, and it takes both of them, and it's really cool to have all those others around us. So I appreciate that, and thanks.
Thank you, Sarah. Kalani or Joey, would you like to answer?
Thanks for that, Sarah. I wanted to point out to the guest and to Sarah Tomachev, I'm just a crybaby, so don't worry, I'm not having a breakdown over here. I'm very emotional.
Kaylani, you want to try it before me? Because I already talked today, but I can talk again. Everybody here knows that I love to talk. All right. Is that my sign that I need to go, that I need to talk? So I like that one, the first question on the dreams. My dream my whole life, or actually first half of my life, I guess, was to be a Major League Baseball player. That started from probably age 6 or 7 when I got my first Don Mattingly baseball card. For those of you who don't know Don Mattingly, he had one of the best mustache. Played for the Yankees, first base, really good guy. I think he's a Hall of Famer. I think he got inducted into the Hall of Fame. And then about a year or so after that, it was my first baseball cards, I started to like the Oakland A's because of Mark McGwire, another big giant guy. And in 1988, 1989, for those of you who were around baseball during that time, there were 2 guys by the name of McGwire and Canseco, Jose Canseco. Some of you might have heard of Jose Canseco during the old performance enhancing drug scandal. And he was the guy that was outing a lot of the people taking steroids and different things like that. So those 2 guys were called the Bash Bros, the Bash Brothers. And every time they hit a home run, they'd take their big giant forearms and they boom, and they'd hit home plate. And that was just started the big infatuation that I had and love that turned into a love that I had for baseball. And it's interesting when Denise talks about dreams, I'll tell you what, that was the biggest dream ever. And when it ended, my last year in college, it hit me like a ton of bricks because I didn't have a second plan, a plan B. And it took me about 10 years to figure it out. And I've told Farron this, and I see her hustling, doing all the stuff. I was doing the same thing she was in my 20s and early 30s. And it wasn't until I got into that focus, follow one course until successful, that really started to shoot. But yeah, it takes a lot of discipline. And I know, Denise, you say it, Farron and I look like we're positive and super jet fueled and stuff. That's not always the case. It's more like a roller coaster. There's a lot of downs too. And it's how to get out of those downs and make sure that we maintain the consistency with our moods. Cause I think that's the blessing and the curse. Would you agree, Farron?
Well, I forgot to bring this up in prior meetings because I just wanted to share this with Joey because I told you I had a Mark McGwire story.
Oh, yeah.
My niece's best friend actually dated Mark McGwire during this
Scandal.
Through this Bash Brothers.
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
And I hate to say it, Joey, but my family wasn't a big baseball family. So it is a New Year's Eve and Paula shows up to my sister-in-law's house and we're going to play poker and celebrate. And just this big, humongous guy with her named Mark. And he's kind of quiet and he just kind of hangs out with us, probably thinks we're a weird family or whatever. And we knew we played baseball, but we weren't really that into it. Come to find out, it's Mark McGuire. It didn't work out, unfortunately. He's not an in-law or anything like that. But yeah, it's just kind of weird. My niece got to know him pretty well and hung out with Jose, who she didn't really care for that much. But yeah, so that's my Mark McGuire story.
I love it.
If
Gotta
only I could have known, Joey.
put it in a speech, Denise.
Yeah.
Put it in a speech.
I know. Oh, I know.
All right, thanks for sharing, everybody. We have a couple minutes, so I will go last. I will answer the second question. It kind of relates to the first one anyway. The last thing that you Googled and why. I just Googled right before the meeting, audiobooks about, oh my gosh, what was it exactly? Audiobooks about solo female travel, I think. And it's just because I like to get inspired about whatever I'm going to do. If I'm going to run an ultra marathon, I like to listen to a bunch of books about ultra marathon running beforehand. Just gets me pumped for it. And because I'm going to take the solo trip in June, I want some audiobooks in my arsenal that I can listen to prepare me for it, get me more motivated, maybe provide some information that I haven't thought about yet. And I'm also looking for podcasts that are on the same topic, but I haven't found very many. A lot of them are for RVs, but not really camping in your vehicle, your regular vehicle or your electric vehicle for that matter. And that brings me to kind of what Joey was talking about chasing all these rabbits. I found another rabbit that I want to chase. And I'm still in my early 30s, so it's fine. I'm fine with not focusing. I'm just going to kind of do whatever I feel like doing and pursuing different passions. And I want to fill that niche of maybe I'll become an electric vehicle camper and start my own podcast, maybe write a book or a blog or something to just share this information with other people who would like to do it.
Very cool.
There's some
Awesome.
people on TikTok, Farron, who are doing that. Not like, I mean, I've seen a couple, and she's kind of, sharing her story through these little TikToks of travel in her car.
All
It's
right.
cool.
I will look it up.
Yeah.
Thank you. I will now introduce our general evaluator, Denise.
So I will start with our evaluator, Sarah Dawson, and she is going to give the evaluation of Joey's fantastic speech.
Thank you, Denise. Joey, you really do keep getting better and better. I'm loving it more and more. And this time it was, because you do like to talk a lot, this one was even more super focused than some of your others have been. And it was very clear. I love your hand gestures were perfect and right on. It wasn't like all over the place like this or like going real fast. It was precise and right on. And especially, I think the prime that I noticed it the most is when you had your two fingers up and pointing in the two different directions, and you came back to that as you continue to talk about this rabbit or this rabbit, and that it was very, very clear on your thing. So I really loved your hand gestures in that respect. You always have very organized speeches. You're the master at telling what you're going to tell them, and that whole thing, I can't even repeat it, but you tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you already told them. Your ending statement was perfect. It completely matched in the beginning. If you wanted to touch it up just a little bit, I think one of the things is immediately start with a quote. Maybe, well, I was kind of debating on this one because I like how you started with the focus and then you repeated it, because you repeated it multiple times so that it stayed in our memories. I'm also wondering if you had started with a quote, if that would have transitioned it like better in a sense, but maybe just like listen to it. I'm not completely sold on that idea, but maybe because you started off with something and then you said, I'm going to start with, and then you went into your quote. So that's what kind of threw me a little bit. I'm like, well, you already started. So let's see, what were the other things? I still think if you had visual aids, it would help immensely in being able to remember exactly what you were saying, even though you're repeating it. And especially because that's what it says in your step 2 of goal, steps, and reps, you are repeating it. And I think that helps. But I think even a visual, I'm a very visual person, and being able to have that, even if you just have, like, instead of your picture in the background, have the little lists in your there, rather than having to do a PowerPoint presentation, but having, or even with the books, if you could have had the books and been able to show the cover of the book so that we can kind of see what it's looking like, I think it would help it stick even more. Your goal, I think the whole speech was about inspiring. I think you absolutely did that 100%. It was, I'm excited because I think all of us need to be able to focus on all these different things and be able to refocus, and giving us the tools in order to do that was perfect. So thank you very, very much. Awesome job as always. Loved it. Thanks, Joey.
Thank you, Sarah. And my wife got a gift for everybody. Speak of the devil, with Sarah talked about having the points in the background. So my wife has a download for Zoom where you can do that. And you know how normally when we share our screen, we share the PowerPoint and we show up, the video gets pushed to the side of the screen over here in this little teeny thing. And then it's, we're tiny, but you see the presentation. Well, now it's a background. Your presentation is the background. So kind of a cool deal. So that might be something that I'll see if I can get from her and then send it out to everybody so you can all experiment with it. Kind of a cool deal.
Great. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, Sarah. And now I will have our R-Counters report. Joey?
Thank you, Denise. So I know this wasn't as thorough as I could have been because I was doing the speech too, but with Farron, it's hard to, when you're the R-Counter, it's hard to know when to start. And I was going to start when our Denise general evaluator started, but Farron really didn't have a lot of going on, but I did hear an in the beginning, like before we actually started. And then there was one that wasn't transition. It was just more of a filler. Storm actually did really well today. Most of you probably noticed that he paused a lot instead of trying to fill the ecosphere with words that don't really mean anything. I did catch a couple false starts, which is normal growing pains when you're trying to get out of the crutch word. So I had that a couple times as a false start. And I think there was one other word that used false start and just went up. Thought that was pretty good. Sarah Dawson caught maybe an and the reason I'm telling is just so people can wonder or see what some of these words were. So there was an I do that sometimes, a but, an it's just. So that's just another example of something. But very good, Sarah Dawson. Very good. And then Sarah T, not many, and one Denise, the only reason I say kind of is because I go through a lot of transcriptions, video transcriptions, and I say kind of quite a bit. I probably said it a couple of times today. And you can pretty much cut those two words out and it doesn't take away from the sentence at all. So I caught one kind of, a couple ums and a couple but not too bad. There was some emotional talk today. So that definitely is something that happens. We put more uhs and ums and crush words in that when we're emotional. I do the same thing. And then Kaylani, we didn't get her in today. So she was the last one. So I didn't catch any for her.
Thank you, Joey. Great job.
Joey,
I'll just cry at every meeting and then you guys can't like hold my crutch words against me. Kidding. And Sarah, I didn't mean to skip you. For some reason, I always get this order jumbled up at the end when we do the evaluation. So if you could give your timers report, that would be great.
Yes.
Denise, do you mind if we talk about Joey?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I filled in for Joey while he was doing counting. So
that's right. I'm sorry, Farron.
he had a few so's in his speech and 2 so's and 1 yeah in his table topics. So
Okay, Farron, she
Return
got
the
it.
favor, Farron.
Okay, Sarah, thank you for waiting.
All right, timers report. Joey, you are at 9 minutes and 18 seconds. Everyone else qualified. Evaluation, Sarah was 2 minutes and 37 seconds. Storm was 1:30. Myself was 1:55. This is for table topics. Denise 2:11. Sarah D 11:25. Joey 2:20 and Farron 1:28. So everyone else qualified.
Great job, everyone. Storm, wait. See, I mess this up every time. Oh, it's me, the grammarian report. Well, folks, I did catch a few people using our word today, vision, and correct me if I'm wrong. Joey, Sarah T, myself, Sarah D. Did I get you? Did you say it? I wasn't sure. I started to write it and then I was like, I don't think that's what she said. Joey, that's it. Did I miss somebody? Nope. Okay, that's my report. Back to you, Farron.
You can give your general evaluation of the meeting, Denise.
Oh, we started a little late. We had some sharing to do and some thoughts, so that happens sometimes. But since we only had one speaker, that's okay. Days like that will tend to go longer. You gave Joey a little more time to give his speech, which is probably what helped make it such a great speech. And everyone, got to share today. And so that always makes a great meeting. And it looks like we're going to end on time.
Awesome.
thanks,
Thank
Karen.
you. Sweet. Well, yeah, we had a great meeting, even though it was a small crew and one guest who has a sleeping child in her lap. I totally understand. I get it. But we hope that you can come back and participate next time if you're available. We can fill in next week's agenda because I forgot to do this last meeting. May 4th, the meeting theme is fandoms. Do we have anyone who would like to be a Toastmaster?
You can put me down for that, Farron.
Okay, thanks, Joey. I have speakers Chanel and Taylor. Would anyone else like to give a speech that week? I think we're good with just 2. And evaluators for Chanel or for Taylor. I'll put myself down because I haven't evaluated in a while.
Do an evaluation, Farron.
Okay, perfect. Table Topics Master.
Do you think Chanel would want to do the one she was going to do today next week?
Maybe, yeah, you're right.
If she doesn't, I'll take it. And I can take any
Okay.
counter or whatever.
Is that a speech you said, Sarah D?
The what?
You said you're taking on a speech. Is that what you said?
No, I didn't say that.
I thought, well, maybe we're going to fill Sarah back in.
Let me be clear. No.
All right, Sarah, have you done for our counter then, and I'll check with Chanel on Table Topics. Storm, would you like to take general evaluator, grammarian, timer?
Grammarian would be good.
Grammarian, all right. And I'll just fill in the other roles with people who were not here today. And then we have open on May 11th and May 18th, if anyone would like to give a speech and start planning for that now. Anyone?
Sarah Dawson.
I'll get back to you, Joey.
Storm, you haven't given a speech in a while, I feel.
Yeah. He's trying to escape. Where is he? There he is.
Oh boy. Speech. I need to continue on with the pathways, trying to figure out the results of my last couple speeches, and I forget who to email for the evaluation.
You can email me, Storm. I can walk you through it. Are you just worrying about trying to get through to get the credit for the speech? Is that what you're talking about?
I haven't spent enough time on the site to know how to put in the information.
Okay.
Because I know that the speeches were evaluated.
Do you want to text me sometime this week and we can just set up just a short phone call and I'll walk you through it? It's not too hard. It's a goofy, the path is a little bushy. So it's not the, I mean, you can kind of spot the trail a little bit.
Yeah.
But once I can get you to spot the trail, it's not too bad.
Thank you.
Yeah, just text me.
Yeah, Farron. I'm not sure if you wanted me to try and give another speech.
Hi, Denise. Thank you.
Yeah, you can just, when you go over it with Joey, just let me know what date and I'll put you down.
You can put it down. Why don't we put it down here, Storm? Put it on the 18th. So at least we're speaking that day.
18th.
And that'll give you a couple weeks to work on
Yes.
it, hopefully before that.
My phone says the day after tax day.
Just
Yeah,
got
they-
that done yesterday. Thank God.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, virtual stickers go to literally everybody here for jumping in, serving double duty, speeches, everything. When we have a small crew, I was going to say a short crew, but some of us are tall. Then it's really helpful that everyone is willing to jump in like that last minute and wing it. And the meeting turned out pretty great, I think.
Yeah.
I like to ask for comments, questions, and concerns. And anything from our guests, but I know our guest is busy right now. So any questions or concerns from anyone else? We're good to go. All right. Well, it is 1 o'clock. We'll see you guys next week on Tuesday.
Have a good week, everybody.
Thank you. Good
Bye,
to see you,
guys.
Sarah. Bye, Kalani. Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Bye.